Views expressed on this program are those of the host, guest, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
Are you ready? The Kornelia Stephanie Show, Wake Up to Love, your call to action. Join Kornelia as she empowers others to live heaven on earth. Kornelia teaches listeners how to be the authority over yourself, embracing your inner guru. Feel yourself uplifted into limitless expansion, integrating ease and grace in a changing world. This show will cover topics such as unconditional love, your physical body, how to be in extraordinary relationships, create financial and emotional wealth, embracing entrepreneurship in the new earth. Everyone, welcome to the Kornelia Stephanie Show. I'm with my beautiful, beautiful co-host, Hummingbird Jewel. Hi, Julia.
Hi, everybody.
Yes, it's so wonderful. We're going to have such an exciting show. I'm so excited because we're talking about the law of compensation today. But I do want to take the audience back to over the last 3 shows. Every show you bring on another spiritual law. And today it's about the law of compensation. But the last 3 shows that we've done, you started with the law of vibration. Then you went into the law of oneness, and then you went into the law of cause and effect. And today we're going out with the law of compensation. So tell us a little bit again, how can the audience find those past blogs that you've written on these beautiful laws?
Okay, it's on my website, hummingbird-jewel.com. And the reason I write the blogs is because they're intricate laws and there's a lot to them, and I try to give some examples of how to utilize them or what it really means. So really taking a deep dive into the concept that we don't really have time for on the radio unless we spoke the entire hour about it. And so it's been really a beautiful experience to share the writings. And today, with the law of compensation, initially, I had asked Leslie Hocker to come on for the second segment because I always do reverse aging on the second segment. But as I was writing this blog on the law of compensation, I thought of you, Kornelia. And I also saw Leslie in every paragraph. And I thought, this is just really perfect to bring her on because she's such an example of this law. That spiritual laws and spiritual principles are so important in our lives to intertwine them. And everybody speaks of this law of attraction, which is great, but there's so much more to it. And so I just wanted to bring awareness to these laws.
Yes, and I'm so glad that you're doing it because your writing is beautiful and you're, educating and helping people develop a stronger spiritual practice so that they can integrate that into their everyday life and make their life better. I mean, that's the reason for putting all this beautiful information out there that will help people. And so today's show is going from life sucks to life success. Right?
Life sucks till life is a success, or having a successful life, because part of my life sucking really had nothing to do with anything except for me and my mindset and how I looked and perceived at things. And that's what we'll talk about that hopefully a little bit too, is our thoughts and being aware of how we think about things. And do we have a negative mindset? And it could have been from programming. I don't know what. I mean, I used to call myself the queen of pain. I mean, literally, it was just, I had depression from it. And I had to do some turnarounds, and you can too. So if you're feeling that way, like, oh, my life really sucks, well, you can turn it around, and there's tools that you can use to do that.
Yes, and I'm so glad that you're bringing us the tools and that we're talking about this today. So I'm so excited to meet Leslie.
Yes.
Once you introduce this amazing, extraordinary entrepreneur, generous heart giver, I'm really excited to meet her. So Why don't we start?
So let me tell you a little bit about Leslie. She graduated from the University of Oklahoma obtaining a land management degree. She was one of the very first women to ever receive such a degree. And then she took it to Houston, Texas, and became an industry leader in the oil field. Not in the oil fields, but in the field of the industry. Yeah. But things took a turn for her in 1984. She started to think about entrepreneurship. And so she actually did that while she was still working as an oil executive. In 1986, Leslie teamed up with the Robbins companies and with top executives from various industries worldwide. And this is where she very first met Jeff Olson, and he was the former owner of the People's Network. She learned from him as well as other legends, including the late billionaire Paul J. Meyer, for the next 10 years. Leslie went on to become a next level achievement coach, an NLP trainer, and authored a book, Trade Secrets for Marketing Your Business Online. I mean, I've got to look at that book. As a 30-year network marketing professional, she was asked to become a faculty member for the leadership expert, John Maxwell. She's built multi-million-dollar sales and marketing organizations in the US, Europe, and Asia. Then in 2011, things took a turn as she once again teamed up with now owner of Neora, Jeff Olson, and she and her husband, Ron Forrester, helped to launch Neora with the goal of becoming the company for holistic, which is so important to me, anti-aging. So as a brand partner for Neora, as brand partners for Neora, they have helped the company break the industry sales with almost $2 billion in 8 years. And Leslie and her husband are multi-million-dollar earners with Neora. But, you know, Leslie, she just gives from the heart. I see it every day. She's going around the world helping people start and launch their businesses. She's on Facebook. She's so beautiful because she just comes from her heart. So I'm so glad to have you, Leslie. Thank you so much for coming on to the show.
You're welcome. Thank you, Julia. And it's great to meet you, Kornelia. I'm embarrassed. I should send you a check.
See, that's how you are. So with the law of compensation, what I saw when I was writing, you know, it talks about going that extra mile, being extraordinary to receive the benefits, because it's really about what you reap, you shall sow. I mean, basically. But what do you do to go that extra mile?
Well, I want to back up a little bit because you talked about my background in business, and it's interesting as a young woman, being one of the first females in the energy industry, I realized I had to work on myself, and that was when I actually started my spiritual journey. I couldn't talk about it a whole lot. I was an anomaly in my field and in the space of wrapping spirituality and business together. And I really came to understand that it's really about helping myself be the best I can be, and then being an example for others, and then serving others to help them get where they want to go. And I left corporate because I felt like it was a too much win-lose model for me. And I really wanted to participate in win-win, which is how I ended up, you know, in my journey working with Tony. And I met Tony actually in Anthony Robbins companies. I was a trainer for them. But I met him, he joined my very first network marketing company. And as a network marketing professional, the people, the leaders that you see that really have success are those that focus on helping others and building others and growing others. And in order to grow others, you have to grow yourself. So so for those of us that really love personal growth, being the best you can be, a little bit better every day, then it's easy to, if you're passionate about that, it's easy to share that with others. So the way we've worked is helping other people be the best they can be and leading by example and servant leadership is all wrapped up into that. So hopefully that, I know that was a long answer, but I wanted to, years ago, a lot of my friends, they wouldn't have anything to do with business. And I really came to a place where I felt like I can be that ripple that goes for their whole life, because I start with them, helping them financially, and then they realize, there's more.
Yeah, there's a lot to giving back, and giving back without expectations in return. And that's something that you kind of have to overcome, that need to have alkaloids or somebody to see what you're doing. It's what you do when nobody's looking that really counts. And so, when I was digging into it, I really saw that self-honesty was really important, that principle, and integrity. And so also we can have blocks against success too, and we got to look at that. And you know a little bit about that, Kornelia, right? About having like scarcity mindset and overcoming it.
Oh, absolutely. And that's part of the reason why we're sharing the things that we're sharing, what has helped us, right? Because it's about being of service and being able to move beyond our conditioning, the conditioning that we were born into, and moving beyond it, and then choosing a greater level of success for ourselves and our families, our legacies. I love what you said, Leslie, about the network marketing, how being of business and being of service, how that really helps people to build businesses for themselves where they can really prosper in. And network marketing has a bad reputation in some areas, where people just have negative limiting beliefs around the network marketing. And Julia and I were just talking about this on Facebook Live, that those are limiting beliefs, and that's really unfortunate that people think that way, because network marketing is such a fantastic opportunity to change your life, and in so many ways, wouldn't you say?
100%. Here's what I've learned is that it's funny. When I started in the mid 80s, people said, "Oh, it's not real because you don't have a storefront." And now young people, they don't even go to the store. It's online. Everything you buy online. And what I've come to understand is we all recommend things that we love to people that we love and care about. And so it's actually just a business model. And most people don't realize last year globally, almost $200 billion of goods and services moved through the model.
Wow.
So it's powerful, and it's fun, and it's empowering people. And what I like is people can choose how much, how little. It's flexible, gives you more choices. I like spending time with my family. I also love to travel, which Julia knows. So I get to do both. I take workations and work and play.
Yes. And so what do you love about Neora? What do you love about this company?
What I love about it is, so over the years, what I've seen from a lot of companies is, well, first of all, I love our culture. So one thing, if I could recommend to your audience, because I'm guessing that people on here want to learn and grow and be their best, is our culture of making a difference, of giving back. And so Jeff Olson started out of his own money an organization called Live Happy. So if you go to livehappy.com, it's all the latest neuroscience research on success, which shows happiness comes first. So I got to call all my friends and say, I'm not crazy. I've been telling you happiness comes first. It's the journey. And, they're all like, I'll be happy when I'm successful. I'm like, no, you don't get it. And so it's a great resource. And the other thing that I like is what I found over the years is, and the reason I had actually stepped out for about 6 years before Neora, is because most companies, they'll get a good product, like they start a product in 2000, and then they never innovate. 20 years later, they have the same product. And in every other industry with traditional business, you have to innovate. And so, like with our night cream, we're on our 7th generation formula in 8 years. It's new science. We all know the science of aging, anti-aging, technology, science has just grown leaps and bounds. My husband is a PharmD, and he said in his lifetime, it's gone from average age of 49 lifespan to like 79. And he expects it to go to 100 plus, while in the next few years. So you've got to innovate. So Neora innovates, multifunctional, etc. So just, we save people time, space on their counter, money, because we're not taking one product and making it 10 to sell. We're taking 10 power ingredients in one. That's kind of what I would say. But the culture and then the unique products.
Wonderful. Well, you look beautiful, both of you ladies. I know that both of you ladies are your lipstick, your makeup, everything is all, and the skincare is Neora, right?
Yes, in Kornelia, I was a lifeguard and a swimmer.
Oh.
And there was no sunscreen when I was a teenager. So I was out in the sun all the time. I had a lot of discoloration, and I'm not wearing foundation. So I was able to stop.
Wow, that's beautiful. So
yeah.
What is it that you have on your cheeks?
I have just a little bit of blush.
Okay, and is that a cream blush, or is
just
that
a little bit of cream?
Okay, it's beautiful, because like I said, you would never be able to say. Actually, your face looks porcelain.
I know. I had an esthetician who's in her early 30s tell me, "Oh, honey, you never spent any time in the sun," and I burst out laughing because I was a lifeguard.
Wow.
But I'd been using Neora's products for about 5 years at that time, and it took time. It's a natural botanical product, so holistic anti-aging, and we have anti-aging inside out, and I am using those. So my skin actually did improve when I started using that as well. So.
Well, you girls are definitely getting me excited about it. That now you're going to have me start looking at that as well. I just recently became a network marketer for Organo, and it just came out of the blue, coffee. And so that was amazing. And now we're talking about Neora. I mean, it's just, now you're going to have me looking at that as well. So
yes.
Anything to make the body and the life better, right?
Yes.
So I've been using it for 2 years now. I became a brand partner 2 years ago, and I did it about this time of year because it was November, and I'm the kind of person that will not sell or represent anything that I don't love, use, or have tried. And so, like she was saying, with some of these products, you do have to use them for a little while. Like the EHT takes a couple of weeks to kick in, to really see. That's the brain formula. And so I just jumped in as a brand partner, because then you get every single one of the products, depending on what country you're in. I do have to rephrase that.
Yes.
And it's an investment. They give you this beautiful website, training. And so you can kind of take your time to use the products. Then comes January, the end of the year, when I filed my taxes, I was able to write off the initial investment of becoming a brand partner, because I was using it for demonstrations. And so it was a win-win for me, and I was able to actually be able to speak to it. And so every month Leslie, we've been showcasing one of the products. And today is going to be, as you were talking about, sunscreen, Age IQ. And this is Invisiblock Sunscreen Gel Broad Spectrum SPF 40. And you use it on your décolletage and your face. And it helps for the premature aging from the ultraviolet rays, but also, get this, people, the blue light. So we're getting blue light from all our digital devices. Okay, who's in bed at night with their cell phones? And then, the iPads and our screens and LEDs and televisions, smartphones. I've already said that. And I started thinking about our children now these days. I mean, I've seen as a nanny, some of the little babies, like, age 2 and 3 had iPads, and they're in front of screens all the time. We really need to protect ourselves, and that's what this product does. And Neora took 3 years or more in developing and perfecting Invisiblock, and it uses this innovative encapsulation technology. And what it does is that it filters these microcapsules, activate, and it absorbs easier onto your skin. And it also includes antioxidant rich complex of vitamins. And she was talking about how they intertwine like 5 to 6 different vitamins. I threw out, or not threw out, but stopped having to purchase so many different vitamins I was taking because they, put them into our formulas. So it has plant extracts also. I've got to tell you a story. I go to the Virgin Islands in my beautiful, successful life now every year, and we go boating, and we're out in this harsh sun. And Captain Dan told me I could not use my sunscreen because they banned it from the island, from St. John, because it's the chemicals in sunscreens ruining the coral reef. And I popped this out. And he was so excited about it because he's out in the sun all the time. So it protects our beautiful coral reefs. It's environmentally friendly. It doesn't have any of the oxybenzone, oxytocin, parabens, synthetic colors, or fragrance. It actually smells good, and it's really smooth. Yes, it goes on.
Yes. So I was going to tell Kornelia, I actually do wear the sunscreen, and it's on your face. It's clear, so it's like a primer. So it does actually give you a little bit of a glow, especially if you're not wearing any foundation. And Julia, I call it extra spectrum because it's the only one on the market that does the digital blue light as well as UVA and UVB. Yeah, so it's, I mean, and who knew that the last 5 years they've been doing all this research on digital blue light that ages you. That's the challenge, is the digital blue light ages your skin just like the UVA rays.
That makes sense too. And it has this little pump. And so I'm just going to put it on my hand, but see, it's not clear, sticky and white. You know how children, oh my gosh, when I was a nanny, they just hated that white sticky, and so did I. It's all cakey on your skin. It's just like completely clear, and it smells really fresh too. It's just really beautiful.
This is so amazing. Again, I'm looking at your skin, Leslie, and you're talking about that you're not wearing foundation. That's pretty phenomenal. 85% of our studio audience is women, and ladies, I'm here to tell you, look at this product. Look at these ladies. Look at
I'm 61 years old. I tell my age. You don't have to tell yours.
I'll tell my age. I'm 64. So.
I mean, and you cannot tell it from looking at our skin.
We have. Okay. I was just getting a chat saying someone is on the line to join us, but that is your guest for the following segment, right, Julia?
Yeah, that's okay. Great.
Thanks, Zach, for letting us know. So amazing. So let's tell the audience where they can go get the product, where they can find out a little bit more about what you ladies are talking about here today.
Well, I'd like to speak to becoming a brand partner. I would love to have anybody that wants to get free products. Okay, so I'm 2 years old. I have, a small team. But guess what, ladies? I get all my products for free. And so I'm going to ask Leslie to talk about the 3-year free. So you can either have a very small business and just get free products, and share with a couple of friends and family, or you can grow your business and become a millionaire like she does. So Leslie, do you want to speak to the 3-year free?
Sure, I'll do that. So what Julia is talking about is the question I actually would ask you is, do you know 3 people that could use or benefit, that want to look better, want to feel better, want to have more energy? We have a wellness choose for sleep, the sunscreen. We've got some, acne, first breakthrough in 30 years. So if you know 3 people that would like to look their best and feel their best, then you can get up to $140 credit every month in free product as a brand partner. And then, Julie, I would like to add that, yes, if you decide you want to do a little bit more, we have lifestyle bonuses, we have car bonuses. We have a simple system where you can earn extra $700 a month. But I will tell you this, you spoke to the tax benefit, and Cornelia, good for you, because I have a friend who's an accountant, and she told me on average people save $4,000 to $8,000 a year having a home-based business. That's basically what this is. Even if you're a business owner, you need to have a home-based business, if you're a traditional business owner. So that is huge. And that's what I noticed after the first year when I was in corporate America. The first year I paid taxes, I went, wait a minute, where's all this money been? And so that's what I love. I want to help people be their best, not only looking better and feeling better. And Julia, I'm part of your support team.
You are.
So I would, I'm excited for people to reach out to you and join you, because financially, for families to get ahead, at least in America, you need to have a home-based business. You need to look at something, whether you look at another company or you look at Neora. I personally love Neora, but you owe it to yourself to do that.
And to get a hold of me, you go to my website. It's hummingbird-jewel.com. Click on reverse aging, and then it'll say Neora, purchase a product. You can go in and you can just look around if you want. I'll do a free consult with you. And anybody that joins me, the first 5 people that join me and put Kornelia Stephanie down in an email, I will give you a free bronze coaching package. That's above and beyond all the free training that Neora will give you also, and just to help you get started. And I would love to have you come join my team. It'd be great.
So wonderful.
Julie, I was just going to say that also you've got access to a secret VIP group if they want to be added to that, if they're your friends, where they could go in and poke around and look at all the different things that are available. So you've got that available to you too.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, there's so many resources, so many tips and tools that are available to you. So definitely take advantage of this. Leslie, I want to thank you so much for coming on and spending 30 minutes with us today and sharing your beauty, sharing your heart and your wisdom. It's a beautiful story that you're living, and thank you so much for making the world a better place. We want you to come back on another broadcast in the future. So thank you.
I would love that. I want to thank you for all that you and Julia are doing to help people be their best and live their best life.
Thanks so much, Leslie.
All right. Thank you.
Everybody, we're going to take a break on the Kornelia Stephanie show with Hummingbird Jewel. We're going to be right back because she's going to do a live reading, and we already have our person in the audience. We'll be right back.
Miss Liz, she's waiting.
Hello, my name is Charlene Hess, and I want to share with you my wonderful experience of choosing to use Kornelia Stephanie as my life coach. My life is so different now from where it was when I began working with her in 2011. At that time, I was in a dysfunctional marriage. I had my own business, I was raising 2 children, and completely dead inside. After working with Kornelia, I began to gain confidence. I began to learn and understand how to use my emotions in my life. I learned how to process the emotions that were stored in my body, the ones that I thought that I had already worked through in my 12 years of counseling prior to working with her. The process that she had taken me through of using my emotions to heal my life, to use my anger to find peace, was absolutely incredible. I have been working with her one-on-one for many years now, and even though I am in a place now where I am thriving in my life, I still refer to Kornelia as my coach, and I still work with her on an ongoing basis where we're always checking in and keeping me accountable in my growth. After working with her for many years, I decided to go through her wholeness certification coaching program, and it has absolutely been an amazing process. I now am a certified empowerment coach, and I got certified through her program, and I am taking clients and helping them to find the empowerment in their lives. One of the things that I love about Kornelia is that she taught me that I am the authority in my own life. And that was a really difficult experience to go through because it was really fighting against all of the dogma and programming that was so ingrained in my brain that all of the authority is outside of me. But as I began to understand and believe and adopt and know the truth that I am the authority in my life is when everything in my life started to shift and change. I became responsible for my decisions. I became responsible for creating a life that I love. And now I'm here in this amazing, beautiful place, living a life of so much happiness and joy. And no matter what life throws at me, I have the tools to be able to approach everything from a place of empowerment. And now I have the ability to help other people do the same. So working with Kornelia has absolutely been the best decision that I've ever made in my life. It has taken me from a life of absolute misery and given me the tools to be able to have a life of absolute complete joy. So I cannot recommend working with her enough. I hope that you decide to choose to have her as your coach. Go through her empowerment coaching program, go through her wholeness certification, and I guarantee you won't regret it.
We are back. You're listening to the Kornelia Stephanie Show, and I'm with Hummingbird Jewel. What a fantastic 30-minute segment, meeting Leslie and talking about Neora, and of course, talking about the law of compensation. And the law of compensation is all about giving and receiving. And this was just such a perfect expression of that. So now we're going to go into the next segment, and that is doing your magic with the audience, live mini readings. And so I know you usually like to talk about the tarot and what does it mean, right?
Yeah, I just like to talk because there might be people that have not listened to the show before. And the tarot is similar to a card deck. So it has different suits. And I use what's called the Rider-Waite. It's a very traditional deck. It takes place in the medieval times. So you have peasants and kings and queens represented in the cards and the pictures. So the 4 suits would be the wands, and they look like these long sticks with leaves growing out of them. That's how they're pictured. They're not like a fairy wand. And that represents growth in education, our jobs, careers, that angle. Then you have the pentacles that are these round golden globes with the pentacle sign in it. That has to do with money and finance. And it could be technology, computers, science, that side of the area of life. Then you have swords. That's our hardships, our angst, our sorrows, our oopses, things like that. And then the last suit is cups. And they're these beautiful golden goblets. And that has to do with love and emotions and relationships. And then there's 78 cards in the deck. The other 28 are called major arcana, and the suits are called minor. The minor arcana is little secrets, and the major arcana means big secrets. And so they have symbolisms like the sun, and then they have some that look kind of scary, but they're not. And I always like to speak to that. There's one called, I think, the 10 of Swords. The guy's laying on the ground. He has 10 swords in his back. Ooh, looks kind of gruesome. But it's really meaning like, something is done, and, I am done with that, and we're going to start something new. That could be one meaning. It doesn't mean anything to do with death, or there's nothing to do with death. The devil card doesn't mean anything about Satan or being evil. So I like to kind of explain the tarot just a little bit, and then you can enjoy that the cards actually have a lot of biblical references into them with angels and things like that.
Awesome. So we have a guest on that you're going to be doing a mini reading for, and her name is Liz, right?
That is. Are you there, Liz?
Yes, I am.
There she is. Hello. So I actually kind of know Liz. Other people I have read before, I really didn't know them at all. But Liz and I are pretty good Facebook friends. She's a Dr. Joe Dispenza meditation student. We're both meditation students, and we help co-promote each other. She's just a beautiful person. So I've kind of followed her on Facebook for a while. So I just like to tell people that we kind of do have a little bit of a relationship. But I can read people that I know as well as read people that I don't know at all. And what I use is her name and her date of birth. Are you ready, Liz?
I am.
Okay, so I have her first and last name written on a piece of paper and her date of birth. I'm going to put my hand over her name and her date of birth. And I ask everybody that's watching or listening to focus on the name Liz. And Liz, I just want you to relax and take a deep breath, kind of close your eyes and try to just focus on your name. Okay, here we go. And I call out to the positive powers of the universe to my guides, masters, and angels, assist me to open psychically and become a channel for the light. And this is for the benefit of Liz. Okay, and now I'm going to shuffle the cards. That was really beautiful. So when I connect, it's similar to a connection that you'd have like when you plug in something. It's what it feels like. It's like I kind of plug into you. So when we shuffle the cards, you kind of just do it until I feel that it's right. When I have a client in front of me, I tell them to shuffle it, and there's no right or wrong way to do it. You just do it until you feel like it's time to stop. And my normal card spreads can be up to 18 cards, but we're just doing a mini reading, and that's a 5-card spread. Okay, so the first card is going to represent what's happening to you right now, Liz, like could be today. And the card that we have is called the Temperance Angel. For those that are watching, I'll put the card up. And the Temperance Angel has 1 foot in water. The water is your subconscious mind in the tarot. And then she has 1 foot on the ground. And she has 2 cups, and they're flowing with water in between them. And in the background, you see a road with a beautiful crowned sun, and she's winged and has a nice, beautiful halo on it. This is a major arcana card right off the bat. So the Temperance Angel is telling me that you're having to balance something that's going on in your subconscious mind. You're trying to overcome something or calm it down a little bit, and you're doing well because you're grounding yourself. And by grounding, I'm talking about literally going out and you're getting out into nature in order to ground yourself. And that's really important. It's like, I talk about having a daily inventory in our lives, that we should have a list of things that are must-dos. And if you're not feeling right, and if you're feeling off balance, a lot of times you go to your daily inventory list and see what you might not have been doing. And it's things like drinking water, sleeping correctly, eating healthy, going out in nature. So I'm seeing that you're focusing on that a little bit in order to bring things into balance. But also you have something in your destiny, I guess is what I'm saying, that is going to come to fruition in the future. I can't really see when it is right now, but whatever seeds you're planting right now, is keep going for it, because it's going to produce it. And that's what that little road was when I saw that little road in the distance. So it might take a little longer than what you might like, but just keep following that path. And what's crossing you is I know, it's a good card. What's crossing you is the 7 of Cups. And so in the 7 of Cups, you see a man. If you see the back of a man, it could be a woman, and he's looking up into the sky, and all these cups are floating on this cloud. And each cup represents different aspects in life. So there's where you're going to live, there's your finances, there's the good and bad things in life, there's spiritual, there's health. And so you're doing a kind of a self-examination right now. You're looking at, you're making choices right now in your life, and you're kind of taking your time, and it might have to do with 1 or 2 of those things, or it could be even all of these things. And it's really a good thing that you're, taking the time to balance with the Temperance Angel. So both of these things are happening like right now. In your distant past, we have the 7 of Swords. Okay, the 7 of Swords. Okay, the little guy, he's kind of a funny looking little peasant guy, is hauling off with 4 swords. He's taking them while all the other guys are in the camp eating. He's stealing them. He's stealing the swords. He's running off. And there's 2 he left behind because he couldn't carry them off. This has to do with deceit and deception. And this is in your past, your distant past. So it could be that whatever endeavor you're going through, that you might be triggered a little bit by, I got taken advantage of before, so I really want to look carefully into this thing that I'm getting into. And that's a smart thing. And I'm not saying that there's going to be deceit and deception. I'm just saying that you are being reminded to not fall into that hole I was just talking about. Like I've talked about myself, I'd fall into holes in my life, and then I would keep falling into that same hole over and over again. So you don't want to repeat something that's happened to you before where you didn't investigate everything thoroughly. So that's what I'm seeing for that. In your recent past, we have, does it? Okay, good. I always wonder, like sometimes people don't really tell me. Okay, so good. In the recent past, you have the 8 of Wands. Okay, 8 wands flying through the air. It's remember, for people that aren't looking at the card, those are the long sticks. They have leaves coming out of them, and they're flying through the air, but they're out of balance, and some are coming a little quicker than others. But the sky in the background is blue. Okay, so you've got a lot of things going on at once, and I happen to know that because I watch your Facebook page. She's always up to something. This card can actually mean a flight by air. I don't remember you flying recently, but it could mean that. It also actually can mean, this is really kind of funny, sporting events. That's something that would mean something to me. But what I'm seeing for you is the out of balance thing. You're just a little off tilter. And this was just happened recently. Something threw you off balance. But the sky is blue, so it was not like, there's lightning and black and darkness and gloom. Everything's okay. That's probably why you're doing the temperance angel thing. You're kind of getting back in balance after what just recently happened. What's above you? We got Major Arcana card. Oh, the sun. I just love this card. It's so beautiful. There's a white horse and a little baby. She or he is about 3 or 4, a naked little baby with this big, beautiful orange banner. There's a huge, beautiful sun in the back of the picture. And there's sunflowers, but there's this wall. And she's outside of the wall. This is about freedom, Liz. This is about breakthroughs. This is about just like, I am free. I keep hearing freedom. I'm free to travel. I'm free to express myself. I'm not afraid of who I am anymore. That's a little bit about what nakedness means when you see that in the tarot. Like you've come to the point where it's just like, I love myself and I'm okay the way I am. And I used to be walled in by limiting beliefs or thoughts in my own mind, but I have been working on it, and guess what? Hurrah, freedom! It's just a really positive card for you, yeah. And then
chills right here, Julia.
Oh, you got the goosies? I call it the goosies.
Got the goosies, man. Yeah.
Oh, sweetheart, that's so good. And then your last card, it's a future card. So when I say future, I hate to tell anybody time, but everybody wants to know. It could be, like the sun's like next week. This could be 2 weeks. If this card's another Major Arcana card. Wow, you got 3 out of 5. And this one is showing like this very religious dude. He looks almost like he could be a cardinal or a pope kind of guy. And there's some monks sitting in front of him, and he's raising religious artifacts. So this has to do with structure. And it also could just have to do with, I'm hearing, this is not even tarot. Okay, this might have to do with, I'm hearing the father figure or the father influence upon your life, like structured beliefs. And you've got your work ethics that way, which is fine. And there's nothing wrong with having structure. There's nothing really, people give religion a bad name too, but using the positive aspects of spirituality and religion to kind of guide you. You're going back to your values that you've learned or that were entrained from spirituality and religion. And it's fine to, just be meditating out there all the time, but we also can go to more traditional aspects of our spirituality and glean from them also. So that's it. That's your little mini reading.
Well, I love it, Julia. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Thank you for volunteering. You're so brave. Be on live on air.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, it was pretty spot on. Thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. If you have any questions, you know how to get a hold of me, so you can do that
Yep.
after
Okay,
the
thank you.
reading. You're welcome, sweetheart.
Thanks, Liz.
Thanks. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
Another spot on reading. Another spot on reading. I asked Zach to just skip this break too. So we're just receiving all the wonderful law of compensation blessings today. And you know, it's just amazing what happens as you're giving the reading and the people are going, yep, I'm resonating with that. It's totally spot on. How can people contact you for more in-depth readings?
Right, you can get a hold of me on my website, which is hummingbird-jewel.com. My email, hummingbirdjewel@yahoo.com. And I actually have hummingbirdjewel@hotmail.com if you accidentally get that one. I don't use that as much. But, you know, if you just, I'm Hummingbird Jewel on YouTube. You can reach me there. I always have my website in any of my videos. And so that's basically, my profile is open to the public, although it's under the name Julia Rogers. If you search Hummingbird Jewel on Facebook, my website, my Facebook page, Julia Rogers, comes up because I used to go by Hummingbird Jewel on Facebook for about, I don't know, 6 or 7 years, and nobody knew my name. And then the Facebook made me change it. So my profile's open. You can send me a message. I do email readings too. Some people are so busy, and all I need is your name and your date of birth. And then I do a very detailed, in-depth, I mean, sometimes it's 10 to 12 pages of information because I do it's the whole full reading. And I go out for 6 months. It's very, very complex and detailed. Kornelia's had one of those. She knows what the email reading's like. But I also do phone readings and Skype. And I can do a 30-minute reading. Or I can do full hour. And they're a lot of fun. I just always love them.
Well, you could tell that you're so you know, in your zone of genius doing the readings, and that it's just flowing in and coming through, and you can tell that you love it. And yeah, I loved getting my email reading because that was at the time when we first met, you and
I know. It was getting
so really, we really didn't know each other, and you really didn't want to know anything about me at that time. And you were like, I'm just going to go in. And so that was great. And yeah, I highly recommend for, you know, the audience to contact you for, you know, a special reading, especially now, you know, with 2020, the new decade. We're beginning a brand new decade. It's always wonderful to have some sort of validation of a completion of a cycle, of something that you're complete with, and that, you know, because you could clearly see that the recent past is focused, you know, is talked about, it's there. And to, you know, put it behind you and step into a brand new beginning, right?
Yeah, and I don't really believe, I mean, this might not be every psychic's beliefs, that I can tell you the future and that is set in stone. I never say that that's true. What can see is I can see on this day that's in your life trajectory. And so if you like what's coming up and what I see, fine, then that means a confirmation of what you're doing, and you can keep on that path and keep building towards that. If you don't like what you see, something's not coming fast enough, then we can make a plan to change it, because we can compose our reality and we can make changes. So say you're thinking about changing jobs, but in your cards it shows that, wow, you're up to get a really big raise. You might want to wait. Or maybe you're looking for a new job and you really need to find one because you've been out of work for 3 months and I don't see it for 6 months. I say, there's nothing in there that shows it until about 6 months. And you're like, I need a job next month. And we need to change. There's something that we need to adjust, and then your trajectory will change. And so it's kind of like a little snapshot. And I just don't want anybody to ever think that if a psychic tells them something that it's like set in stone, because if you believe that, it will be that. But you have the right, you have free will, and you can believe it or you can choose not to believe it and say, no, I need a job quicker than 6 months. And then we can work out a plan to pull it back in. So it's kind of just like a snapshot. A lot of times it's a confirmation of what you already know, but that's also very validating. so you know you're on the right path, right?
Yeah, I love that you brought in the free will piece because, you know, overall, in the end, we always have free will to choose.
Yeah.
Even when, I love astrology, and so even when the astrologers talk about, there's a square between Mars and Pluto, or whatever, and you always still have the power to override how you're going to respond to any event that's taking place, and you can choose, to override it so that you don't have to be limited by, okay, there's a doom and gloom and this is what it's going to be. Anything like that is just meant to give you an awareness that, hey, this may happen, and if it does happen, you have a tool, you're aware, and you can choose to have a better experience. It's just kind of like, hey, it's the same way with the weather. When we know that, okay, it's going to rain, it's just giving us a report of something that's letting us know, hey, rain may come, so take your umbrella.
And my readings, what you don't see on the radio, because there's not a lot of back and forth, is even in the email readings, I give a lot of suggestions and tools and point you in the right directions, because I'm kind of like a spiritual broker. So I'm not as a PhD in nutrition, but if I see that you need a nutritionalist, I know I can recommend one, or a book, or YouTube. I give a lot of tools. It's almost like a big psychic coaching session, because I'm able to tune in, and it's possible I'm accessing your Akashic records. When I had Deborah Lupien on my book review show, and I was learning about the Akashic records, I'm like, I think I might be reading people's Akashic records sometimes, because that's kind of what it feels like, And so you actually get a full coaching session from me with recommendations. It's not just, this is what this card means and bye, And then, I'm willing to work through things with you. Like if there's something you don't understand, or because like one time I saw like a white dog, I think I wrote down, and the white dog I typed up, she goes, I don't know what that white dog was about. I said, well, it looked like kind of like a wolf, and wolves, I know what that is. So when we talked, then I could tell her what my vision of this white dog was, and then she knew exactly what it meant. So any email reading gets a phone call too. I mean, I always want people to feel like they have, closure. What's interesting is when they don't ever respond, they just go, oh, I loved it. And I'm just like, what was it all about? Because I'm only on one side,
Yeah.
I kind of want to know.
Yeah, so it'd be interesting. Liz could have told us a little bit more if she felt like she wanted to talk a little bit more, but maybe she'll tell you on Facebook.
Yeah, I always tell people you don't have to do that on the air, because it's kind of personal. Readings are very personal and very private, and I will see things that are very personal and private, but I would never say anything on the air.
Yeah.
So the on-air readings are just a little snippet, of what really happens when you have one with me.
Yeah, it's been an amazing show today. I want to remind the audience now to, go to both of our YouTube channels, and we value it so much. Go to Kornelia Stephanie YouTube and like and comment underneath the videos. It's a wonderful way to interact with us. And if you ever want to be part of the Kornelia Stephanie audience here, you can go to KorneliaStephanieVIP.com and get your live access pass to be part of any of the shows, and you will feel uplifted by the experience, because we have a wonderful way for you to interact with us. And then go to Hummingbird Jewel's YouTube channel and also interact with her there. We really appreciate your feedback and your participation with us, and we look forward to bringing you more amazing content that is making your life better, so that you can live your best life. That's what it's all about.
Thank you for bringing up the YouTube. I'm really needing subscribers. If anybody wants to subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. I'm looking for my first 1111. Everybody says their first 1,000. I want my first 1111 Soul Tribe supporters. You don't have to do the bell thing if you don't want to. I mean, I just want you to subscribe, and then you can just organically, intuitively go to my channel. I always have content every week, but thank you very much for subscribing. That would gift me.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for listening. See you, Jules. See you.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Hi, my name is Janet Hickox, and I want to tell you a little story about a story. and how my friend Kornelia Stephanie helped me through to the other end of that story. I have gone from the dark of a story I was telling myself that wasn't true to the light of optimism to see my way out of where I was and to where I want to go. And it all started with her scheduling a session for me to help me reclaim my money or my financial empowerment. Up until that point, I had been telling the story that my business was dying, that my business was not successful anymore. And the more I tried to figure out what was going on, the worse I felt about it. And when I had to get ready to do the session with Kornelia, she asked me to go look at the numbers and where I was through the year to date, and then also to come prepared with a number that I wanted to raise my income to. Well, I was quite comfortable with that part, right? I knew where I wanted to be. What I wasn't comfortable with doing is going and looking up those numbers. But I made myself do it, even though I tried to backpedal my way out of the session. She didn't know that, but I was going to try to get myself out of the session. And I looked up those numbers, and it was incredible that I discovered through that process that my business wasn't dying. In fact, I was doing 12% better than I had the year before. So I was shocked. I was shocked literally at the power of the story that I had been telling for months. But more than that, I was shocked that I had allowed myself to get there. And later in that day when I had my session with Kornelia, she pointed out some very obvious things, like, how are you going to get where you want to go if you don't know where you want to go? How are you going to get there if you don't have the goals written out, if you don't have it set up so that you know where you are and where you're going to go? Totally makes sense, right? I had been in business, somebody else's business, as a sales manager for years, and I was a national sales manager. I had awards for sales management. I had business awards because of numbers. And yet when it came to doing my own business, I totally forgot all that I'd ever learned. So by the time Kornelia, working with me in just one session, got me to look deeper at the numbers and where did I want to go, and actually, claiming where I wanted to go, I was filled with a sense of optimism and hope like you can't believe. It was like everything shifted for me. And I am so looking forward to our continued sessions to see how far I can really push myself to get where I've only dreamed of being, where I've never taken the dream and actually brought it into concrete existence. So thank you, Kornelia, for the work that you're doing out there. I appreciate it, and I can't wait to see where I go from here.